Hi to everyone in the Bilingual and Bicultural Child course at Ryder University. My name is Dibbo Duti Roy, or as I would say in my vernacular tongue, Amar Naam Dibbo Duti Rai. I'm really glad to talk to you guys today, and I hope this video is useful to you in your classroom space. I'll try to be as brief as possible because I know video monologues are not the most exciting things on the planet. So a little bit about myself. I'm currently a doctoral student and a full-time instructor in the Department of English at West Virginia University. I teach both advanced literature as well as composition courses. Before WVU, I was at the University of Glasgow where I did my master's, and before that I did my undergrad degree in India. For the last 2 years, I've also been working at the Writing Center in WVU as a graduate administrator as well as a tutor, which means I work with undergraduate tutors in mentoring them and do a bit of administrative work. I've been working as much as possible with both native speakers and non-native speakers. If you ask me how I would classify myself in the linguistic domain, I would say that I'm a bilingual speaker. Although my mother tongue is Bengali, like most other middle-class Indian kids, I grew up learning both English and Bengali simultaneously. As you know, India is a post-colonial country. We had been under British rule for over 200 years, which means most Indian languages are strongly influenced and inflected by English. And it's so conditioned that we hardly observe or analyze it. For example, unless I do severe research, and I'm not really willing to do that, I will not be able to tell you the Bengali equivalent of the term computer or a Mac. Since my earliest memory, I've always used the English term. To be honest, I would not say that I had any particular challenges in learning English when I was growing up. I remember my mother used to really stress on learning English grammar and syntax, and she had this chart on the sequence of tenses posted above the dinner table. But then again, she's an academic herself, so you know how academics are like. I went to a school where the language of instruction was English, but I remember that beyond the classroom, and sometimes even inside the classroom, I mostly spoke in vernacular with my friends. We did have an unofficial rule in school that you'd be fined about 25 paisa or 2 cents for each vernacular or Bengali word you spoke. But suffice to say that if the rule actually had been implemented, my school would have made millions. So this is my third year as a teacher, and thus far I've really enjoyed teaching in American classrooms. Currently I'm teaching an American Literature Survey course from 1865 to the present, and the core strategy that I follow is that of interaction and less of the lecture-based model. I do make it clear to my students on the first day of class that since we have different spoken accents, at times there might be a gap in communication. And if that comes through at those points, they should definitely ask me questions and clarify, and I would do the same. In this way, clarifying and asking questions becomes a part of the ethos of the class. I would say I have had a very healthy mix of ESL as well as native language speakers in my composition classes. Although in my literature classes, it's almost always native language speakers. As is, I guess, expected. The perceptible difference in the language acquisition of native language speakers versus ESL speakers and learners, and I'm sure some of you must have had this experience by now, is that ESL speakers often tend to focus on grammar, syntax, and what we in Writing Center terminology call lower order concerns, while native speakers rely more on functional hearing, like what sounds good to them, and less on actual grammatical terms. I will add this though, that I am unwilling at some points of time to classify ESL and native speaker learning as different. I'll give you the reasons why. Since I teach at West Virginia, which is a largely rural state, a lot of my students are first generation college students. And the hesitance or the trepidation they have in the classroom space is almost equivalent to the way an ESL student feels in a foreign setting. So they start learning the same way. There's a lack of privilege with their growing up, which they find it difficult to express themselves in the classroom. But as time goes by, they start feeling comfortable expressing themselves. And I've seen this working with both the ESL and native speakers who are first generation college students. So this actually breaks down the binary for learning in my case, as I've perceived. Well, I guess that's all we have time for today. I want to thank you once again for allowing me to speak to you, and I hope this was useful. I hope you have a good class and a great week ahead. Take care, all of you.